Alright, let's see if this is working. Check. Should be coming out. Check. Oh, I gotta turn that on. Hold on. Ooh, alright, that sounds like it's working. Okay, so welcome to Dropping In a Pipeline Audio number 38, and I'm calling this Winging It. And I guess some of you already know why, and you're already talking about it. So as usual, there's a band practicing, so you're going to hear a bunch of noise in the background. And for anybody who's watching with really discerning eyes, on the far right-hand side there, returning to the musical world after 5 years, that's Sloan from the Random Weirdos. So she's picked up her guitar again, and she's going to bring her thousands of shows worth of stage experience to this new band that's forming up right here. And you can also see there's Andy and Jack from Operation 7.5. This is their new band, Coliseum Street. So what I wanted to get to, still working on our plugins, and still, keeping our beta program going. Really want to hear a lot more from our beta testers. We really need you guys testing this. For all I know, I came up with some stuff that nobody really needs, so maybe that's why they're not saying anything. But it's stuff I need, so whatever. And if you beta testers find something broken, let me know. But it's just amazing how much a GUI, the graphical user interface, the GUI, whatever, can really hold you up. And we burned through piles and piles and piles of programmer time just going back and forth on little dinky details. And from now on, I think I'm just going to be painting in really broad strokes until a real graphic designer comes on. And if anybody knows one of those, let me know. And this is one of those weird fields where people are just so incredibly either undervalued or overvalued. We see people charging just crazy money, not able to do very much, and not being an important part of the process. Then we see other people charging barely anything that do incredible work. This is one of those things where there's so much charlatanism and fraud. It's really hard to get the actual team together, and I'm pretty happy with the team we got right now. But yeah, the GUI, man, it's still not pretty, I don't think, but it works, and it really costs us some time. Most of these plugins are done in, our programmer is great, we're done in like a day, and then after that is all user interface stuff. And man, do I want to hear in the comments from the pedants that talk about UI versus UX or whatever. Okay. And then, even worse is the website design, because that's kind of ending up on me, and I'm a terrible artist and a terrible judge of character. You remember I don't know if you guys ever see my early Reaper themes with just insane colors, because, I like high contrast, and I guess it freaked people out. One time I had some guy who doesn't even mix drums or edit them commenting on one of my forum posts, because I was asking, I need more contrast between the stretch markers, the regular markers, and the grid lines, and then the difference between when you're selected versus when you're not selected. And he's like, oh, are you blind or something? And I'm like, some of us ask questions, and this is like going back to the he asked a technical question and needs a technical answer. Some of us ask these questions because we're actually doing this work, and we need things to work a certain way so that we can do this work. So, don't assume. It's just one of those things where the Dunning-Kruger just jumps on people asking questions. That's a annoying thing. Anyway, the main thing is that there's so many ways to not get things done. And that goes to our plugin company. That goes to the website for sure. And that goes to music. You're probably going to be better off, even if you don't have the perfect mic preamp or whatever. If you got a song and it's itching to come out, at least get it down. Maybe you can go back and re-record it later or whatever, but But man, the way I see people just keep from doing any music at all because they need that one more piece of gear or they need that one more piece of something. Just do it. Don't let, when they say perfect is the enemy of good or perfect is the enemy of progress, don't let that stuff stop you from working. You always see me, you can see in this picture right now, every one of those drums is mic'd up. It would take me less than 5 minutes to get a band up and recording, assuming I don't have to get the headphones out there, which is a whole nother thing, man. It's still such a unergonomic thing to deal with headphones, but I digress. But, the quicker you can just start working and get things done, the better. And even if the recording quality is bad, I will still take any of those old Misfits albums versus some pristine thing that just isn't even a song, So there's a couple of things in the you guys know it. So for the X32 and M32, the version 4 firmware came out, and you just go through some of this stuff. There's DP48 Hub 4 remote configuration support. I don't know what that is. DP48. What is a DP48? Is that some new Stage Snake or something? Let's see what that is. That looks dual personal mixer. That looks like another one of those. Wait, what's the difference between that and the other power play thing they got? I don't know. Anyway, send pan optionally follows left right fan function, full backup export restore function. Yay! Okay, that was ridiculous. Saving your presets and stuff on the M32 and X32 is terrifying to me, and hopefully that's something smarter. New keyboard with channel names, suggestions, history, and keyboard layouts. Export show function. And forces update of fader boards, requires reboot. Option for colored RTA bars, not bad. And then a lot of GUI stuff, a lot of better looking stuff. But I think the one everybody's gonna be talking about, right, is the routing, the point-to-point user routing. It says 4 input and 6 output banks, and what this does is, I don't know if you've ever had to use an X32 or an M32. You really get screwed on the everything's kind of 8 at a time. This lets you break out of this. So, if I bought this RME interface so that I could do loopbacks and stuff, but I'm pretty sure you could now do looping back straight on the board without giving up buses. Like these things act a certain way. I have everything so that I have to actually go to the preamps section of setup in order to change my mic preamp settings, which is kind of a pain. I can't just turn the thing on the board because of the way this is set up. But now I think I could actually flip these around to how it would make a lot more sense. But I know I'm not describing this well. But if you're using one of these X32s or M32s for recording, you may be doing the same kind of thing as I am, where the inputs are actually the stuff coming back from the computer, and but what gets sent to the computer, the real inputs are the mic preamps on the board or the Stage Snake or whatever. Those, because of routing them this way, you can't use the preamp knobs on the console. You can't use the preamp knobs on the app. You have to do it from the setup page, and so I just open the app. Luckily, I leave these things set a certain way, so it's usually okay, but that is a pain. But this new point-to-point routing, you really can take, as far as I can tell, I couldn't find anything that I wanted to do that I couldn't put in. So you're not limited to 8 at a time anything. Like, for instance, you could have channel 1 is your card returned from the computer, channel 2 is a mic preamp, and it could be any mic preamp. You can scramble these things. That's really cool. I haven't gotten to messing with the outputs yet. I have a very crazy, painful routing setup, and I know I've showed you guys before, but I think that there's going to be a way where I can undo some of that just insane pain because of the way that the output routings go, but I'm not positive. I really want to see again. I have to check some things out. But yeah, for anybody who's watching, if you haven't seen this before, so this is my routing setup. It's a lot to remember at all times. You know, you got all these crazy loopbacks and all these things, and things are flipped around, and yeah, okay, it's just pain. Oh wait, you can't see that. Let me put that on to right monitor. So this is my routing for in here, and you see it's just very unergonomic to deal with things that way. Oh, how do I oh, there you go. So hold shift. Anyway, so that's the Behringer V4. The routing is much nicer, but so everybody's been talking about this thing, and you know it hasn't. It's been kind of hidden in secret scroll and stuff, but it hasn't in the way that we used to see vaporware and stuff from the manufacturers in the past. Behringer has been teasing us for the last I don't know how long with these videos that show little bits and pieces, but as far as I know, it's going to be called the Behringer Wing, and according to the press, tomorrow, November 17th, is when they're going to reveal the wing. And so we're going to see this thing tomorrow. I guess it's probably a new mixer. Pretty sure it's a new mixer. It had like all kinds of channel icons and stuff. But it says 30 years in the making. So I have no idea. You know, and they did something you almost never see. So I'm going to quote from Music Tech here. Yesterday, Behringer posted a picture on Facebook that suggested a reveal date of 22nd November 2019, only to then surprise us all once more with the post today captioned, "Sorry, we can't make it on the 22nd, but instead we'll launch it on the 17th. We apologize for being early." Now, Behringer is a gigantic company, and you usually don't hear that kind of friendliness and camaraderie and whatever. And I know there's all kinds of bad things to say about Behringer. But, you know, talking to us like you're one of the guys, that's actually awesome. So there's speculations that, you know, some kind of touchscreen console or something. I just hope that it's more of this, you know, this really good routing that's on this one, and maybe some of the new products. I really still like the X32, M32, whatever. I'm happy with that. I'm bummed that they discontinued the X32 core. But this wing thing looks like it's gonna be pretty cool, so let's hope. But yeah, we really don't know much about it. So you guys who've been following it, I mean, you've seen a lot more. Like you see those little videos where they show little bits and pieces of it. But so other things I want to talk about is, you know, we're still, you know, you always get this thing in the forums where, you know, whenever a noob's asking for something, it's like, I want the closest thing to analog. I want this the closest thing to vintage. Why is vintage and why is analog the goal? The idea that back in the day when women were property and Jim Crow laws were the rule of the land, that's when the best electronics in the world ever came out. And it's ridiculous. We can do so much better today. And what is this analog thing they keep talking about? I mean, we know what the real analog is, but what is this idealized analog? What kind of, I mean, let's face it, anything that changes what you put in to what you put out, it's broken. It could be a good broken, it could be a bad broken. We distort our guitars on purpose, right? But that doesn't mean that it's always going to be good to break something and realize that you're changing it. Especially when you're talking about mic preamps, you know, just the other day, again, some guys like asking for a good mic preamp for an acoustic guitar. And so everybody chimes in with the DACing. We need a Neve. We need, you know, all these expensive mic preamps. And I'm like, why, what do you hear as a difference? And no, of course, nobody will ever tell. Whenever you ask the actual question, what do you hear? What's different? What's better about this? They don't know, or they give you some nebulous, non-measurable nonsense. Whereas to me, you know, you want to record an acoustic guitar, it's a kind of a quiet source. I want a mic preamp that's not noisy, you know, but that's pretty much any mic preamp. The only time you don't worry about noise that much is if you're talking about some super high SPL source, but give me a low noise mic preamp anytime. And then what are the other things? I don't want it to distort. Maybe you want it to distort. Maybe. Okay, we'll get back to this. Maybe you want it to distort, but I don't want it to distort for the acoustic guitar. And I want a bandwidth that's wide enough to capture the whole frequency response to the acoustic. And really, I just want a flat frequency response as well. I don't really want bumps and dips and whatever transformer magic nonsense people are talking about. But, when this all comes down to it, and you guys have seen me put up my own gear a lot of time, it's a challenge. Let's see you tell the difference between this and that. A lot of these things where they think, oh, this is plain as day, they're going to hear the difference. They just don't. And they'll always run away from that challenge, And then the few times people didn't run away, the results are hilarious. When people pick the Art mic preamp and the Mackie mic preamp is the best, So take that crap with a grain of salt, Drives me nuts that people are still on this silly religion, And so, now that if we don't go bankrupt in 20 minutes, now that I'm a developer again, what product family still frustrates you? What things are still killing you on product wise? Like to me, it's tuning vocals. That one really hurts. The old days, the original auto-tune was actually pretty good. It would jump octaves a lot. There's a lot of stuff you couldn't tune with it. And it was always so sketchy and ready to crash. And it feels like they almost went away for 10 years. And the newer one, I gave the demo a try. It is so CPU munchy and sticky and buggy. I just couldn't get it to really run. There's basically two kinds of graphical pitch correctors. Now, I'm not even talking about the automatic ones, but the ones where you have to do it yourself. And I know that people aren't going to agree with this, but we've actually we can go through this together if you don't believe me. But there's a lot of situations where okay, so let me say the two different types. There's ones where you can directly draw in the pitches, and there's ones where you kind of nudge things around. Even though you might have a lot of control over that nudging, it's still different. So Melodyne, for instance, is one of the ones where you would nudge things around, whereas with Auto-Tune you would directly draw the pitches. And Waves Tune was kind of in between those. You can actually draw them directly in Waves Tune, and I really liked Waves Tune. I don't really like Waves products that much, but I really, really liked Waves Tune. Unfortunately, it's still broken and has been for years and years and years. No matter how many times we ask Waves and how many times they tell us they're going to fix it, it can't really do offline renders except for as the master, which is ridiculous. You can't do you can't bounce your Waves tracks to, you can't freeze them, you can't render them. You have to do it in real time. If you do it in real time, it works fine, but that's ridiculous. We really need a vocal tuner that worked. Isotope had that Nectar, which again was typical Isotope, really bunchy, really sketchy, but it worked really well. And I think you could directly draw the pitches in, but then they gave up and they're telling people to buy. I think they bundle their vocal thing with Melodyne now. So man, I would love to see a better graphical pitch corrector. Waves Tune, if you just fix that, please just fix it. This is ridiculous. Like, I don't want to go and try and make one of these things and then you guys fix it the next week, Just fix it now, please. Or in Melodyne, please just let us directly draw into it. And I know you guys don't think I know you guys think you can directly draw the pitches in Melodyne. You really can't. You can't, as far as I can tell, and nobody's been able to show me otherwise, you can't get the same exact result in Melodyne as you can with Auto-Tune or Waves Tune. I know you can do a lot of pitch manipulation and stuff, and you can get close, but there's some when it really has to be done this way, Melodyne does some really weird artifacts for me. So the other ones, to me, chorus and flange, which is weird. We definitely got the way to do this stuff. But I'm still not really happy with the choruses. And you know what I'd really love to hear is a rock band chorus, right? You know your VST's chorus has got it there when you can make it sound like Boston, So get us that rock band chorus. I know there's been some close ones, but I haven't really heard, and it just doesn't sound lush. A lot of times they don't make that lush, that really swirly, I think of like Jakey Lee, Ultimate Sin era kind of chorusy sounds. The flangers are pretty much there. Gated flange is one that, oh man, you know what? I have to actually write that down and tell that we need to do a gated flange. Sorry, this is going to be